Hello, welcome to Chit Maker. So, after you purchase the program, you'll download it, presumably be in your download folder. So, you just need to double click on the Setup program. You'll get a warning that it's unknown publisher. That's okay. Just click yes. I want to install it. The setup wizard will pop up. It'll tell you to shut everything else down, which is probably not really necessary. It'll recommend a folder for the program. I wouldn't mess with that. And then a folder for the shortcuts and whatnot, which includes the uninstall one. You could not do that, but I wouldn't recommend it. And then finally, you can check this or not if you want a desktop icon. So it'll give you a list of all the settings for a final chance, and then the install will happen, which is very fast. And then we have an option to immediately launch the program. So we see some credits, and then for a new project, you'll just see the global definitions and the chit list. So for a new project, probably all we really need to do for now is give it a better name. So we're going to try to make some Blitzkrieg chits, if you remember the old Avalon Hill game from way back. Alright, and that's all we need to do there. So let's start making some chits. So we'll do that by right clicking on our default blank chit. We kind of need bluish and pink counters for that game. So we only have black and white to start with. We need to add some other colors. So we're going to add blue to start with. That looks good enough. Hit OK. We want to change the name so we know what we're getting, though. You could have two blacks. You just won't know which is blue and which is actually black. And we want to add rather than replace. Alright. So let's start with infantry division. So we just check the infantry button. And we want a division, so that's the size 2 unit, and we need to turn on our X's. And if we didn't like the X's, we could reposition them, spread them out further. Let's see that, closer, whatever you want. You can make them taller. You can also make the lines thicker, but that's good. So in this case, we want to replace our blank unit because we don't need a blank anymore. So replace. I'll let us rename it, and that's infantry. Now let's add a tank symbol and turn it into a mech. And now we're going to start adding, and we'll call it mech. And we'll get rid of the infantry symbol and add it and call it a tank. And finally, I believe we need artillery brigades. So they're only size 1. They're not self-propelled, but we need our artillery symbol, and that should work. And that's done. Okay, so with that, we can move on to actually making some units. So we don't need this window anymore, though it doesn't hurt to have it open. And then we'll just right-click in the window to bring up the unit editor, though you can also access all the windows from unit tools. I don't think any of the menus will appear in this video the way this recorder works, so we'll do it this way. If you remember Blitzkrieg, they had most units had the same attack and defense, and they didn't bother to show both. So let's edit the template to hide the defense value. So just unclicking gets rid of it now, but now our attack and movement allowances are a little too far apart, so let's move them together. With the key remembering to click on the A before you start trying to move it. And then movement, we'll move 10 pixels in the other way. And that's all the changes have been changed to default automatically, so we can just close that. Alright. So we like some unit designations. So this will be the 1st Division, the 1st Army. Updated to see the changes. We can also, we could type in a different name, but you probably want to use those symbols, so hitting the auto will just copy that there. Or even easier, you could just click that on and this will be updated automatically. We can also clone units, but to make life easier, we're going to turn auto number, which will change the right, increment the right number by one value every time we clone. So let's make 3 more of these guys. Second, third, fourth. Alright, and now we're going to make some tank units. If we just start adding into the 4th division would be replaced, so we actually want to clone first. We'll change the chit to tank. It's going to be a different series than the infantry, so we'll pick a cool number. And our tanks were typically, I think, 8 or 6 attack value. We'll go with 8. 6. So you can use that check button to do the work automatically for you, and that looks good. So let's make a second one. Except we'll give it a. We don't want the auto number. We'll go something more interesting. All right, and then finally we're going to add an artillery unit. So clone this again, so we have a fresh starting place. Change the chit to artillery. If you remember Blitzkrieg, the artillery had a lower defense value than attack and had a range value, so we need to do that. But which means we're going to need a new template. So let's go back to template, edit. We're going to add a new template, and we'll rename it. Actually, we'll name it range. Maybe. There we go. All right. And so we want to add the range value. We need to check it actually. It's kind of the wrong place, so let's move it over and up. And the text is rather huge, so let's shrink it down. And for fun, let's highlight it. And highlight could be a little bit bigger. And that doesn't look like it's quite in the right place, so let's move a little bit more. Alright, and that looks good, so we'll close that, and all our changes took place immediately. We still have to go back here and select our new template, which, oops. So the values are a little bit off, so we'll turn that off so we can make the defense value different. And we'll make this guy pretty slow. Update our image, and we got artillery now. So you can see you can make a lot of chits very quickly using this tool. There's an option for counter sheets, and if you go back to the unit identity and put in you could put in like army groups, 1st, 2nd Army, or you could put in starting areas, north, south, and a turn, which could either be start or any turn. And then you can now put I think a pretty good looking order of battle. It'll list the units by player, turn, and then starting area and group. So very useful, but we'll go over that in a later video. So thank you for your time.